If you tell me you've got a desire, I'm all in. Do you want to grow?
Absolutely.
Take notes and make sure it improves your business. Everybody wants to grow. You deserve to grow.
You don't pitch to investors to try your luck. You pitch to investors to win.
If it's not challenging, I don't think it's worth it.
The right advice to give in business is validate the idea first.
Most of you out there who want to grow, your issue is just starting, isn't it?
It's important that people just follow what they want to do.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime for all of us.
The podcast is not about them growing, it's about them helping others grow. Hello and welcome to I Want to Grow. I Want to Grow is all about that. I say it every single podcast. We've got, and I'm smiling like crazy because we've got an absolutely wonderful gentleman on the podcast today. His name is Mohammed Al-Delaimi, and you will know him from SkipCash. But we're going to talk about loads of things today and the other business that you're getting involved with. But please, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
No, my pleasure, Steve. It's always good to talk to you, and let's say I'm happy we made it together.
Yeah, I'm so happy because we've known each other for some time and we always see each other at the different events. But boy, you've done some good things.
Well, it's a very exciting journey for us. It was, let's say, SkipCash is something that I started, let's say, from scratch. So it's been an experience by doing. So this was a pretty much experience for me to take those kind of new challenges in the entrepreneurship world.
Entrepreneurship, okay? Where did it all begin for you?
Well, it started actually in 2019. I met the co-founder that we together built SkipCash. And before building the company, it is something that I have in my heart as a curiosity about the payment industry. So this curiosity actually was around 2015. So this become year by year an incremental curiosity that pushed me, let's say, towards looking into what's happening in the payment industry. Who are the players, who are, let's say, companies that play a major role in, let's say, market share and those kind of solutions that dominate some of the markets. And this curiosity pushed me a little by little. Then at one stage, I took a courageous moment to start the business.
But you didn't have to jump into entrepreneurship. You could have just stayed in your job. You've got a wonderful job and you could have just stayed in that and you would have been happy as ever.
You know what, Steve, this question actually came once in a while, actually until now. Do I regret starting this kind of business? Do I regret to start any kind of business? And apparently this question comes when there is a downtime or downturn in the business, whereas a new challenge is coming up, or sometimes there is let's say a new changes in the dynamics of the market. So this, of course, when you are under pressure, you would ask yourself, why should I do it? But it's one of the entrepreneurship challenges is that how you can control your feeling. Always those people who go out and start a business, they have something in their mind and their heart is that I want to provide something new. I want to do the change that everyone is asking for. I want to bring something to help make your life easier, to make a better quality of life for you and everyone, and in the economy and everyone in Qatar. So, of course, this is not a burden. This is something that you take on your shoulder, that you believe that you can do it and achieve it. So, of course, you need to tackle those kind of feelings within your heart, within your soul. And this is where I guess things are getting trickier and you need you need to keep your sanity in
I love
place.
today. I love today because you're smiling so much. But there has been times when I know that you've been through tough times that you don't smile that much. You wear your heart on your sleeve, as they say, and you can show your emotions sometimes. But what was with that journey? It's not an easy one for all the entrepreneurs out there. It's not an easy one, even for people like yourself that looks like, oh, look how big this is all growing. But there are real problems and real difficulties that you face within business.
It's you are right, Steve. I guess this is where everyone is talking about that entrepreneurship is that you're putting yourself very far from your comfort zone. As you mentioned, why not staying with your regular job and everything is normal? You know your job, you day in and you day out, and that's it. There is not much challenge in your life. Probably, maybe there is a challenge in your job. But this is, let's say, your full engagement with your capabilities that you are really want to do it, and it is tough, Steve. Sometimes it's mainly, let's say, almost it's 30% that affects the entrepreneur emotion and feelings is related to the business. 30% is related to business. 70% is not related to business because you need to manage your time, you need to manage your relationship with your friends, with your family, your wife and kids, and if you have a job, you need to also manage that. So I guess those 70% is the one that is requires some efforts. Of course, you are sacrificing so much time. Of course, and this is, once the business start to face some kind of challenges, you start blaming yourself, and sometimes you're questioning your ability. Am I good enough to continue this journey, or? So you see, this is almost emotional journey, and the ones who fail to manage this kind of emotion usually quit. And of course, the people who are before us, bright entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos, or those who built those mega projects, they usually say if you do it for the passion, you will survive the downturn of your business, because if you don't have passion, you would quit the next day.
Okay, so you talked about this difficulty. Who's those people around you, if you don't mind saying? Who's those people around you that lift you in those times when they can see when you're down, or they can see that you need that little bit of a boost?
Yeah, well, of course, I guess Qatar is a social environment, very social environment. So you see, even elderly. I'm 40, by the way, so I still have this very close relationship with the far and close family relations. So my parents, my further family, like uncles, and so those cousins, and those are, let's say, people who are around me. Usually notice these, as you mentioned, those emotions. Sometimes I try to make sure to put it down.
I know you do, yeah.
But sometimes I fail, and once they notice, of course, they feel those kind of emotion and try to. Sometimes they guide me. Sometimes they just tap on my shoulder and those kind of stuff to. Give me this kind of courage to continue. But the most, let's say, family members who really notice this, then the moment it happened, of course, my wife, and she's, let's say, all the way with me in this journey, and
makes a huge difference.
Of course, and this is because the moment you enter the house, you go inside, you need to leave all your business behind. Because you need, since let's say the business, your day job, have some kind of impact on your mind and your ability to control your senses, your emotions, and this, of course, you need to leave it behind once you go inside the house to enjoy with your family and kids, and let's say you continue your duty, your other role, which is you being a parent, being a husband, being, let's say, a family member. And
is she your biggest fan? Does she collect
of
all
course,
yeah. Does she collect all the kind of, because you're in the press a lot. You're in the press a lot, so she must be really proud.
Yeah. She's actually she's there most of the events, whether an exhibition or keynotes, or sometimes I do let's say a presentation. She loves to come and provide support, and of course to also critique me how I perform.
Nice.
But yeah, I guess it's and usually also, let's say, she follow our social media pages, and she can notice comments about how good or bad our service is, and she try to let's say offer advice from, let's say, from outside of the box point of view.
That's so powerful. And it must be so nice to be able to get that feedback, in that sometimes the critique, sometimes to look up and say, look, you can improve more there, because sometimes you're in front of the camera a lot. So it must be difficult to keep that momentum.
Yeah, it's I'm so happy that and thank her to
I'm glad that you thanked.
Let's say, one of my biggest supporters in the entrepreneurship journey.
So in saying all of this, would you have changed this journey in any way once you know that, because you're still young and you started in 2019, did you say? Yeah. And you're here now in 2023, going into 2024. Would you have changed that journey in all, or do you look back and say, I don't know if I would have taken the same paths, or do you look back and reflect on those things?
Of course, every entrepreneur would have done, let's say, so many mistakes that they want to recover, or sometimes they want to reflect on them to say, if I done that, it would be even much better. But this is actually part of the journey. You don't know. If you make it right from the beginning, maybe your path didn't reflect on those angles and those major milestones in the way that you are looking into it right now. I believe, there are some of the failures that it happened in my journey with the SkipCash. I really, let's say, not because we failed at that certain conditions, but I believe it helped me to create this kind of stamina that I need to have it either way. Those failures I had, it helped me to be even more precise right now. Otherwise, I wouldn't be this much of doing this kind of precision when it comes to developing the technology, or related to how we treat the customers, or related to how we organize ourselves within the shareholders, and setting the expectation for everyone. And those experience, you need to fail in order for you to learn and move forward. And I would change one or two things if I could, but I'm happy, and let's say I'm okay with the things that happened in the past.
With your journey, it's very much under the spotlight. Everything is under the spotlight. Every move, every kind of good thing, every bad thing. That's a big responsibility from a Qatari perspective, and what you're doing for the country, how you're trying to go out and lead and show the way. Does that ever get kind of the weight on your shoulders get too much sometimes?
So Qatar is not Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley, if you failed several times doing any kind of startup, the environment knows that this is the ABC of startups. So you start something, you may, let's say, 90% of your time you may fail. So it's you should, let's say, the environment expects you to pick up again and start once more. Here in Qatar, no. There is no tolerance for failure here in Qatar. That's why it's in everyone mind, everyone in the startup scene put so much attention into not to fail, or at least set an example for whoever behind you. So at least they be courageous to start their business, and because everyone is fearing failure, which a fear to a limit where it prevents them to start their idea, to start their startup. It's a very let's say very horrific feeling, because nobody wants to fail, of course, but it shouldn't prevent you or let's say impact your performance. It shouldn't impact your decision making, because if you fear so much, you will be feeling the risk everywhere, which will eventually cripple your movement, cripple your progress. And unfortunately, we need to handle it. Let's say in a good and a smart way, to see, let's say, solve it in a way where it doesn't impact us as entrepreneurs, and also we don't need to show it to our team, because team eventually need motivation, and if they start to see any weakness or disencouragement or any kind of fear, eventually it will
of course
affect or ripple back to the team.
Yeah, 100%. And but I think that's something that I've admired you for over the years I've known you. And when the first time I came across you was, I loved your SkipCash, and I remember I was one of the judges. And I didn't really know who you were at the time. And I remember saying a few things, and then you picking me out then in an event, in the Microsoft event. And you looked up and said, and you were like, where is he? Where is he? And then everybody it was like the Red Sea parting. And then you were pointing at me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what have I done? What have I done? And I remember, but I've always been impressed with what you've done and what you've achieved. I've impressed with the way that you've had to pivot on several occasions, where you've had to, but you don't care. You roll your sleeves up, you get involved, you go into these clients and you ask them how things are doing, you'll question how they're doing things and could they do it better. Those are the things that I admire, especially from people like yourself that have this the fear of failure. Because I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it's that pusher. It's that one that kind of pushes you a little bit more, a little bit further.
And by the way, that event where you were part of the judge panel, it is always, let's say, something in my mind that I nailed how to pitch, or I nailed how to design or present my presentation or pitch deck or whatever. And every time I pitched it to any kind of judge panel, I always see what are the weaknesses, because every entrepreneur in love with their idea, and love to a level where they don't see the flaws and weaknesses, and those are shortcomings in whatever they design or develop. And I need to push myself out there so much so I can get this kind of feedback to improve myself. It was hard, by the way, to get this kind of feedback. It is hard to see, how did I do it wrong this time? So it's always, and the moment that you put yourself into a closed cage, that no, what I'm doing is perfect, then I guess everything will start to crumble. Everyone need to open their heart, because whatever you do, there is always room for improvement. Yeah. And I guess it's the nature of any person is that the more you, let's say, put yourself outside your comfort zone, you will at least gain new skills, or maybe open new partners, or let's say connect with other networks, and let's say increase your knowledge about the market. So I guess this is the nature of every entrepreneur. They need to be, let's say, extrovert and try to meet with people and try to bring them in and So I guess I hope I'm I'm doing it.
You're
good.
doing it so well, because I like, and I keep on saying this to startups where all of a sudden I say keep on pushing, because before long you'll get people that volunteer their help, they volunteer their support, and I think that's the stage that you're at, because I see you doing these partnerships with so many different big companies that you think to yourself, wow, that and you had the Apple Pay come in, and that was going to hurt, and there were so many different things that were hurdles that you had to get over, but you seem to navigate those hurdles, and you seem to keep on being focused, and something calls, and you may have to reinvent yourself, but you keep on doing it. How is SkipCash at the moment? How is things going on that front?
Well, it's a good journey for us, and of course we started in 2021, and it was during COVID. So 21 wasn't that much a good year for us, but in 22, since it's the World Cup year, we're seeing things moving much better than 21. But eventually. Not eventually, I mean in 22, after the World Cup, we see things are, let's say, relaxing a little bit after the World Cup. Like, things become more relaxed. But for us, as a fintech company specialized in payments, we saw a momentum going forward because of the COVID, because of the World Cup. The awareness of the advantage and the value of online payments become much more greater in everyone business. So we are seeing SMEs looking for online payments from the day they are starting their business. And right now we are seeing even government entities looking towards changing the infrastructure of the payments in the government. So right now, SkipCash, we used to be the best solution, and we are still the best solution for SMEs. But right now, we are the best solution for SMEs plus big organization and government. So this is where I guess we want to scale in 2024. So we will put more focus into offering more flexibility in how we integrate our solution, and let's say bring maybe one or two government clients into our portfolio.
And it's going to happen. It's so simple now, this new thing that you're doing with the phone and everything. It's so simple and so easy. Now, going forward, it's like, what's your plans on expansion now? Are you looking at Qatar and then looking at other countries now?
Well, it's an interesting time for us in SkipCash, because we are planning to do a funding round by end of Q2, and this would help us to do a couple of technological upgrades in our solution, and the remaining allocated fund, we will allocate it into one expansion. We were thinking of doing expansion in 2 GCC countries, but I believe we would put more focus into the expansion into Saudi Arabia. This is because the growth plans that Saudi Arabia intend to do in so many sectors, in entertainment, tourism, hospitality, retail, even in B2B logistic services. This, of course, would require a very powerful and scalable solution from payments perspective, and this is we believe that SkipCash would play a very good role in those markets, and this will help us scale in the shorter term into one of the GCC's region. But I believe in the 3 years plan, we would also move to other 2 GCC countries.
Raising finance, that's easy, right?
You see my hesitation. It's not a straightforward thing to do, raising funds, and believe me, Steve, it requires so much strength to discuss, argue, debate. Try to convince investors to really believe in your mission, in your in your, let's say, in your five years vision, and how you see your products in 5 years. So it really requires so much intellectual power. You really, your power is really drained in every investor meeting. Why is that? Because at these moments we see the venture market becoming more hesitant to invest. Of course, there are certain, let's say, exceptions, but eventually from the global scale, we see those VCs refraining from investing in 23 and 24, expected in 24 also to do the same. Because of the market changes, the global challenges and global problems. But we would, of course, because we are seeing growth potential in GCC regions, because GCC region actually it's still a cash intensive market where it need to be digitalized, and it's still those governments looking for, and private sector looking for innovative solution to transform those cash into cashless transaction. So we believe there are futuristic investors who are really looking into building the best infrastructure in payments. So we believe they are out there, but we need to look for them and bring them in and try to convince them that in Qatar there is still a good market when it comes to the fintech, and also with this technology it's scalable to go beyond. So it's a really challenge. By the way, I don't know, maybe I met almost 60 or 70 investors in total, and it's always a learning curve for me. So every investor, they have a different kind of potential or thesis that they are looking for. So it's always, I need to learn how to speak their language and how to encourage them and how to make them see what I see. And this is
It's some really good points there, but I'm gonna look at it and say that I think that sometimes the startup ecosystem or the startups, they make this mistake. They want the investors want it very simple, very easy. But with what you've learned, how important is it to make sure that you've not just got a glossy front, that the back of the business needs to be perfect also, because they're going to go into every little detail, and it must be so important. You can say this. What kind of things did you learn from the beginning to now, where you had to put right and had to put it right quickly because this is what they were expecting? It's fun. This is a foundational thing for every entrepreneur, is to be so much honest and transparent, not to investor, even to current shareholders. Being true and honest, and also showing what is exactly happening in your company. This is something that people need to have this kind of confidence that you are saying what you are doing. And I believe this is important, because whatever you, let's say, make your startup so much shiny, yes, eventually I need to make my startup not look nice, but look ambitious. Of course, we did not so much. We did some mistakes. We did fail in some areas. But we need to show them because of those experiences that we did, we learn in the hard way, and this is how we see the future is coming, and how we're going to do it right this time. And this is actually, it can go both ways. So maybe this investor will say, I'm not confident in your answer, probably, but some other investors would say, okay, as long you learn your lesson, or sometimes they need to put maybe a more detailed plan on how to achieve your goals and targets, and then things will come together. I guess we saw other examples in those startups, let's say, playing with numbers, playing with unrealistic targets to only convince those investors. And eventually those
those strategies or tactics usually fail, because eventually if you are not so much believing, or let's say showcasing your true experience and true journey or attraction, eventually you can't sustain this kind of business.
Does it get easier as you go along?
I keep saying this to myself. But no, to be honest, with every step, either going straight or going higher, there is new challenges that you see ahead. Because if you are small, you're competing with whoever similar to your size, and if you're growing, you are competing with other people who are similar to your size, which brings new challenges and new dynamics to the business. So the way that you are the tools, or the way that you were using when you are launching your business, it's not the same, or it's not required anymore. You need to sharpen your skills and start something new, learn something new, and then start competing with other people. But I guess it's not going to be easy. It's not. Maybe with others, but for me, I didn't see things getting easier.
You are honestly, you're testament to this whole entrepreneur thing. I love what you're doing. Another question for you. So you've done all of this, and now all of a sudden you get a license from QCB. Now it's easy, or is it?
I guess this is it's one of the milestones that we do have. That getting the license, it means you did so much effort from infrastructure, from technology, security, compliance, governance, those the elements that facilitate for you to get the full license. So you are, let's say, right now complying with all the frameworks from the central bank. It's an achievement.
Very much so.
Yes, but this is not the final destination. So this is something that you take and you continue in your journey.
I imagine it's like the ISO, right? Everybody gets the ISO in the first year, but then they come back in and grade you to see whether you've been doing what you should be doing in the second, third, and fourth and fifth year. That's when it starts getting, it's harder. But again, it's testament to yourself that you've got the license and you're pushing forward.
Yeah, indeed. And I really thank my team. SkipCash actually is 17 team members.
Whoa, that's stepped up a lot.
Yeah, and very, let's say, dedicated, assertive in certain ways. And they did, let's say, they went to the last mile in order to get this license. And I really thank them. They did a very great job, and they're still doing it. So right now, when it comes to from business perspective, we are doing so much great this year. We, let's say, put certain forecasts for ourselves in this year, and it's been almost 25% more. We achieved 25% on the target. Whoa! And this is actually this is and very every startup should rely almost 90% on the team, because the team really who are putting things together and go to the market and try to sell the services that we have. So the team, I'm so happy, I'm so lucky to have them.
No, nice one. So you've done all these things. You're going really, really well. Everything is going nicely. You're in the groove. You're managing things nicely. And then all of a sudden I see something in the press this week that you've got another startup, paylater, right?
Yeah.
Well, and you're involved with quite a few good people, quite kind of prolific Qataris here. So you've partnered up with a team. Didn't you learn from the first time? Yeah. You just want more pain.
You keep telling yourself it should be easier this time. it should be, but it gave me this kind of encouragement to see other business entrepreneurs and other entrepreneurs here in Qatar, that they are so much let's say passionate about this new company, and I felt their passion. So I thought to myself, I need to even maybe sacrifice more time and energy, because I feel those business partners and other co-founders with paylater, they are really seeing this to do it and make it happen and make it successful in Qatar. So I felt this energy that I saw from them. It gave me this kind of confidence and courage to join them and let's say get more pain a little bit, but at least we want to really make things bring new technologies and bring new ideas into Qatar.
With some of those guys, they have definitely got the desire. They're full of desire.
Yes.
And they really do want things to work in Qatar, right? They really have got a passion, which is great to see. It's like in saying all of this, what does it actually do? Pay later. Obviously, we can get the goods and then we can pay it later.
Yes.
That's going to be completely new for here.
Yeah. So paylater is a startup in the buy now pay later segment. It's a company that offer interest-free, let's say interest-free installments for people who love to shop and buy, let's say their purchases, but at the same time they want to manage and regulate their payments in an effective way, not to just buy something irresponsibly, but at least they want to manage at the same time their finances and make their life easier and make their life manageable. So we are targeting to offer this solution for people in Qatar who are interested to buy some of the necessity items. In the meantime, they want to push those payments in a 4 months time.
They were going to buy the goods anyway.
Yes, exactly.
But this is going to give them an easier option when it comes to finances, so that they can manage it well. Is it going to be for Qataris and for expats too?
Anyone who live in Qatar, they can have access to this solution, this service, and the idea of it to help every individuals to manage their finances, at the same time buy the stuff that they really like, and they let's say sometimes they want to buy certain items, whether it is a retail, electronics, or maybe traveling to a country that, or a tourism trip that they really looking towards to. So we can help them in doing those purchases, but at the same time they can roll it out in 4 equal installments.
And that's really, really positive, because you have the alarm bell starts ringing when you think to yourself, is this going to put people into debt? But it's not. If you say that you're going to help them control this so that they can see that they can make these payments so that it's more cost effective and they don't lose out in 1 month or one time,
yes,
they can spread that, which I think is going to be excellent.
Yes, and the idea is that the objective of this solution is, as you mentioned, help regulate and manage and control your finances. But in certain times, people, let's say, get into accident in any kind of way. For example, some people, they need to go to the dentist at a sudden. Maybe they cannot afford doing maybe a surgery for their teeth or something. So we can also help them regulate, let's say, put those payments into installments. For example, maybe for a car maintenance, maybe for certain emergencies where you want to split those payments. So this is have 2 elements for it. So to help you control and also help you in a when it come very need
unforeseen emergency where you've got to go back to the UK or you've got to go back to wherever it may be. It's just there as a fail safe kind of if something goes wrong.
Yes.
Is there going to be a connection? Because I thought this was going to be a connection with SkipCash. Is there going to be a close connection with the two?
Well, it's the way we are building SkipCash is to make it the required foundation for any kind of business, whether it is government, SMEs, and try to build it as an infrastructure. If you're running your business, eventually you will need an online payments. So since buy now pay later is a fintech solution, so it would require a payment engine. So pay later and SkipCash will join forces to roll out the best payment solution for those people who are going to use pay later, because it requires precision and paying in installments, and trying to have those kind of solution securely, also controlling those kind of sensitive information of those credit cards.
And it's already in place. And it's a match made in heaven.
Yes.
Basically, it is. It's kind of, you've got a tried and tested solution provider that is probably one of the biggest in Qatar. And you've got this new technology that's going to come out. 50% of it's done. And you've got part of that company. You've got the CEO and founder, which I thought was a stroke of genius. And I said to you on one of the messages, I can't wait to talk to you about it. But it makes perfect sense.
Yes.
And
SkipCash right now, we have 1,400 businesses signed up with SkipCash. And alhamdulillah, we are growing month by month. And those assets that we are building in SkipCash is going to be available for pay later. So businesses who have right now a solution from SkipCash, once we launch the final product for pay later, they would have this already built in their solution. So inshallah, sooner in 2024, once it's been launched, you will see it almost everywhere.
Unbelievable. Congratulations. And let's keep this to business now. If you were going to say something to your 15-year-old self, what advice would you give that 15-year-old right now?
I guess I would give them. I would give myself. Be more courageous towards trying more ideas in a very short, controlled environment. Learn more about the business environment. I know I'm an engineer as a background, but eventually I probably, because I'm an engineer, my mind wired a little bit different. But I love studying, observing the business world. So I guess this for everyone, 15 or teenage, I would push them to study, observe, and look out into the business. How the business works, how those different industry run, and how they provide value into the economy. And this is I guess would eventually, from 15 to 20, this is the perfect learning cycle for everyone who is going to engage in the business environment. I guess by the time of 19, you would see those young individuals would be courageous to start a business or bring some new ideas that we didn't thought of.
Mohammed, I wish I would have been a bit more thoughtful, because I wish I had this great big cup here today, and I wish I could present it to you, your wife, your family, your friends, your employees, the way that you're doing things. I wish I can give this big cup to all of you, because you definitely deserve it. And I've got to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
I thank you, Steve, for giving me this opportunity, and even for the most of the insight that you are helping me, because I believe in Qatar, the startup ecosystems actually is being developed from people like you, pushing those entrepreneurs, trying to enlighten them and give them advices, and even not advice but even guidance. We sit together, sometimes we sit several times discussing on different aspects of the business. So this actually it's helping us to see things that we miss, or let's say we underestimate sometimes those kind of elements of the business. So thank you so much. I appreciate
You're
your
most
efforts
welcome.
and the
You're
startup
most welcome,
ecosystem.
because I want to know you for the rest of my life. I really do.
I appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mohammed Al-Delaimi, SkipCash and now paylater. Congratulations. Thank you very much for listening today, and thank you for being on the show.
Steve. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much indeed. Thank you.